Hi, I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be looking at number 36 in the first studies of the Arban book. This is on page 15 for those of you who have a recent edition. And I'm going to go ahead and play through it for you. And then I'm going to tell you what I think Arban had in mind with this particular exercise. Ooh, had a little flub at the end. My mind just kind of drifted away. Everything we're doing comes out of what we're hearing in our mind. And if your mind is drifting away to like, oh, I haven't eaten yet today, then you're going to have a problem. Okay, what did Arban have in mind? He writes staccato, which we know in Italian means separated. But the French have another word for it, which is called détaché, which means detached. Very similar idea. So it's not that sounds like I'm getting a phone call. Give me just a minute. Sorry for the interruption. My bike's in the shop and he just called me to let me know it was ready. Okay, back to business here. What did Arban mean by staccato or détaché? The notes are separated, and this is something that many trumpet players have trouble doing. So I want to just spend a little bit of time today talking about the basic things that give some players trouble with what should be a kind of simple pronunciation. Now, some people have no trouble with this. They love doing it, and that's exactly where you want to get. You want to get to the point where, wow, this is fun. It just sounds like bubbles popping. You know, you have this beautiful, it's like, oh, that's such a cool sound. That's what you should be working on. Now, but many times it doesn't sound like that, and oftentimes, even if it sounds okay, it doesn't feel very good. So let's dig down a little bit. If you make it simpler and just say the notes, da 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 da, da 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 da. All I'm doing is I'm vocalizing, and when my tongue touches that easy flow of air that's there in order to produce vocal sound, stops. Dot. So I'm saying dot, or det, or dit, or dot, or dut, or whatever vowel you want. That's for you to figure out, right? But it's where everything focuses. I think the neutral syllable for trumpet is de 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 de. Now, one of the aspects is you want your tongue to be as comfortable and as easy as when you're vocalizing. So you can use your voice and just speaking like that, or singing, even better. Da 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 da. Let me see where I am here. Da 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 da. There's legato. Da 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 da. There's détaché. So practice it both ways. I usually slur, legato tongue, staccato tongue. Then I start adding K articulation and multiple tongue, doing it at different speeds. So that keeps it interesting for me. But first, see if you can get that sound. Now, you may have some of these problems. The first problem that I notice a lot is people have their tongue is tight and they're blocking the air with the tongue. So instead of going ta 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 ta, they're going t t t t t t. So the tongue is actually blocking the airstream all the time. And what that does is your tongue's pushed up, and you only have to use a little bit of the tongue in order to block the air and then release it, but actually the air is not flowing freely through your mouth. Your lips are not getting the support that they need from the ease of the airflow. So a basic rule that you should look for in your playing when you're working on all kinds of articulation is, is the air that's coming to your lip, that's going past your lip, is the quality of that air, the way the air is moving, the energy in the air, is it the same as when you're just producing a tone with no articulation? And if it's not the same, you need to check and see whether you're blocking the air. You could be doing it by pinching with your lips, pressing a little too much with the mouthpiece. You could be doing it by choking the air in your throat, by tension in the muscles of your torso and your body where you keep the air from flowing. You could be doing it with your tongue, as I mentioned. So I did a little video called The Breaks. You can look that up if you want more detail on this, but this is a critical area for all trumpet players. So an easy solution for this is if you love your sound and you honor that sound because you don't want to give it up for anything, your beautiful sound should be there when you're tonguing or when you're sustaining. And that's what makes this exercise so cool. Because first I'm separating. You see how fun it can be? That's what I want to encourage you to engage in. Now, it can also be really frustrating. So if the sound quality isn't there, go back to some things that you know help you relax and flow and listen. Don't concentrate on the problem. Focus on where you want to go. What would you like to sound like? If you have a trumpet player in mind who you hear, you say, "Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I want to sound like that." Great. Now, it may take you a while to get there, but if you keep your mind's eye, so to speak, focused, your mind's ear focused on the quality of that sound, your body will automatically go in that direction, and you're going to be sounding better. If you focus on the problem, then you're giving the problem energy. So instead of focusing on the fact that your tongue might be going, think about what do I want it to do, and it's my friend Charlie Schluter, who's been retired for some time from the Boston Symphony and has just had his 85th birthday. His email is charlietoot. And I think he did that on purpose. It's a little bit humorous, but that's basically all you're doing when you're articulating with whatever vowel you use. If it's just neutral, you're just making a stream of air and starting and stopping it with the tongue. So it's one of the easiest things to do on the trumpet and one of the most difficult things to do really, really well. So I hope that some of this gives you some ideas about what to work on. I'll throw one more thing in there, which I always do. I'm always thinking about direction. So instead of thinking da 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 da, which we would normally do when we're thinking about the front of the note and what the articulation sounds like and our tongue and what it's doing and blah, blah, blah. When we start thinking like that, we're getting out of the flow. And the air is the flow. And the air is what we need in order to produce the sound. We need that flow of air. So if you have a problem with the flow, concentrate on what you're intending to do musically. So I'm thinking, just playing up a scale, da 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 da. You see what my voice does? Da 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 da. This is a musical idea. So I'm going through the first bar and to the second bar. Then the second two quarter notes of the second bar, to me, are pickups to the third bar. So I'm going, and that helps me tremendously. Then I'm not playing vertically anymore, I'm playing horizontally. Now, if you incorporate that into your playing, I think you're going to find that just the way you're thinking about the music and where it's going, where you're going to, and how you're getting there is going to really make it much easier to play physically. When we concentrate too much on the tongue stuff, like some of the things I mentioned before, we can get stuck. Okay, another thing just popped into my head that a lot of people have problems with, so I told you don't focus on the problems, but I want you to do self-analysis. So what is actually causing the problem? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm telling you things that cause a lot of people problems, and so maybe you're one of those folks. I noticed that many players, maybe even most players, are articulating not only with their tongue, but with their throat at the same time. And what do I mean? They go, ta. So that when they stop the air with the tongue, ta, they're also stopping it with their throat. Now that's pretty easy to do. You can go, ta, 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 ta. You see how tight that is? And that keeps the air from flowing. You might be doing that without even recognizing it. I had a student from China who had a lot of capability, a lot of talent. I think he's playing professionally now over in China. And I worked with him for 4 years, and he knew what the problem was. And it was this problem, and he never fixed it. Now I hope he's fixed it by now. But when you go da 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 instead of da 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 da, so nothing should be stopping the air. It should be just like sustaining, except the tongue. How you do that, that's the detail. There are a million ways to use the tongue to stop the air. Some of them are going to work better for you, some of them not so well. That's for you to figure out. Herbert Clark said, everyone must discover their own particular manner of tonguing. I agree with that. And there are very tiny differences, and what works for one person may not work at all for another person. But you can hear it when it works. So please listen when you're practicing and enjoy this process of discovering how to make beautiful sounds on the instrument. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.